So, okay. We are, today is Dalet Kislev, the Rebbe's anniversary. The Rebbe and the Rebbetzin, the day they got married. See the Rebbetzins picture up here. Very happy day. It's also the day of my anniversary, my third anniversary.
Oh,
I'm a young bride. Thank you. Baruch Hashem. So today is also Yom Skula, because like we know, the day that put the Rebbe in position of becoming Rebbe of Chabad, right? Because he became the husband of the previous Rebbe's daughter. So, and we know it was a very, very, very joyous occasion that the previous Rebbe really fully engaged and fully with all his faculties, and for quite a while preparing the wedding. And at the wedding, there's lots of good stories, and it's a happy, auspicious day. So, and it's especially, we've been learning yesterday what a marriage is between us and Hashem. The marriage is a merging of two people, or in the instance, it's a metaphor also of the marriage of the Jewish people and Hashem, that we become one, we become merged. There's no higher and lower, giver and receiver anymore. At the times of Geula, that will be fully revealed. That will be, right, we're essentially one with Hashem. And we'll be on that level of recognizing that we're one with Hashem, rather than separate and needing Hashem to save us or needing Hashem to take care of us. It will be more on equal, like the moon and the sun, the mashpia and the makabel, will be both strong luminaries. And that will be when we are actually shining our own light, like the moon in times of Geula will shine its own inner light. It won't need to receive from the sun. And that will be because it will tap into a higher level of light that's beyond the sun, even the sun and the moon. So that's the times of Geula. It won't be our energy and our life force, we won't be getting from the same way that we've been doing until now. It will be coming from a much higher source, Hashem's essence. It will essentially feel connected with Hashem, be connected with Hashem, empowered by Hashem on a much essential level, not so much of like we don't have and we can't see and we need Hashem to help us see and we need Hashem to, no, we'll be already merged, seeing Hashem in everything at all times, everywhere. And we'll be empowered with that connection. I was listening to something. All people, one of the basic needs of humans is to feel connected. Okay? So the question is what you're going to connect to. So we're trying to connect to Hashem. It's the highest level, godliness, God's essence. Even within Hashem, there's levels of connection, right? You can connect on a very, like on a base level, or you can, connect with all your faculties, all the 10 powers of your soul, your action, your feelings, your emotions, your intellect, and your will and pleasure, right? There's levels, and then there's the level higher of all that is your essence, an essential connection. And that will be fully revealed, how we're really one with Hashem, no matter what, no matter who, times of Geula. So that's what we learned kind of yesterday, with a little bit of my embellishments. But let's see this inside. Parshas Vayishlach, 1992, paragraph 11. All this is emphasized more in our times, our generation. And let's proceed, Hakdama, and go back a little bit. שאף שמצד יעקב נגנו ונשלמו כל ענייני הבורים וכבר אז, כשבישלח יעקב הייתה יכולה וצריכה להיות הגאולה, says Yaakov, when he sent messengers to Esau, Yaakov was already ready for the Geula then. And he had finished everything that he needed to do to elevate what he needed to elevate. And there could have been, and it should have been, the Geula should have been then. And therefore, he shalach malachim, so therefore he sent messengers, which could have been angels also, to Esau to tell him, Higez man, the time has already come. That the time has come for the prophecy that we know of the future, which is that the Redeemers will come to the mountain of Zion and will judge the mountain of Esau. Yaakov wanted to sit comfortably, calmly, and in a settled, peaceful manner, like we learned yesterday. The world wasn't ready. Therefore, it didn't actually happen in the world on a certain level. Maybe spiritually, maybe he got to that level and within himself, but in actuality, in a revealed way in the world, it didn't happen yet. After all our efforts now, since then, Jewish people have done a lot of work in the world. All the Jewish people through all the generations, including the revelation of the teachings of Chassidus that took place on the 19th of Kislev, which is going to be next week, Monday night, Tuesday. And then also we continue celebrating Wednesday. That's when we started the spreading of the well springs to the outside. And we added and increased through our Rebbes from generation to generation, until who the Rebbe calls the leader of our generation, his father-in-law. Through the previous Rebbe, well springs have gone out to the outside. All corners of the world. Therefore, the Rebbe says, even the world's things that needed to be finished and completed have become whole. Like the previous Rebbe did announce that everything that needs to be done has already been done. And he said, we just need to polish the button. But the Rebbe says we even polished the button. Really, we're ready. The world is ready for Mashiach to come. We all want Mashiach. I remember speaking years ago with a few people that were very, very left and very non-observant necessarily, that they barely knew much about Torah and mitzvahs. And I explained to them this idea of there's going to be a world leader who's going to redeem. I didn't say the word redeem necessarily. I said who's going to lead the world, and he'll be a true leader. No political agendas, no biases, no blinders, or no ego, just a real, true leader who will lead and guide the entire world to a world of peace. And I said, that's Mashiach. And they said, wow. And I said, that's what we're taught is going to be. And they said, that would be amazing. They loved the idea. They were very into politics and criticizing this and criticizing that. Yes, we know there's going to be a world leader who's not going to be anything from anything that within the system that we have now, completely from without the system. Will be truly, truly, truly here to bring peace to the world. They loved it. So the world is ready. This was already years ago already, okay? The world wants peace. Okay, so everything the Rebbe says is ready for the coming of Mashiach. So from this we understand the Rebbe says that the continuation of the service, after this, after what the Friedrich already announced, as long as Mashiach is being delayed, from whatever reason that we don't understand, doesn't make sense, is not understood at all, is not known, not understood. He didn't say doesn't make sense. He says it's unknown and not understood. Right now, we don't have to deal with the bluing, with the elevating of the evil and separating good from bad. That's already been finished. What is it? Is to bring into the world. Let me mute somebody. So what I think this means is like we're not here to necessarily. My understanding to have. This is my interpretation. We don't need to have debates. Okay, we don't need to have arguments. We don't need to have to prove anything wrong or whatever. At this point, what we need to do is reveal light. Right? Reveal Geula light, reveal Mashiach light, reveal Torah, reveal the truth, reveal Hashem in the world. And to know that there's so many people who want to learn Torah and want to understand Hashem and want to see truth and want to see emes. That is what's the focus of what we need to really focus on. Okay? Mimela, the evil will not have any power or anything. But when we're in our light and we're shining our light and we're in our strength and we're not paying attention to anyone trying to maybe, get us off our, our core and our mission and our understandings, then we just have to disregard it. We don't have to engage in it. That's my understanding. We don't have to go and try to fix it or deal with it. At this point, we just need to focus on teaching Torah, learning Torah, spreading light in the world. Okay? That's my understanding. Now, Yudbis, Yesh Lomar, we could say, this, our generation, which is, and this so special generation, my life, such an advantage in our generation, it's hinted to, alluded to in the Parsha, in the Haftarah of the Parsha Vayishlach, where it says, Vaya Bet Yaakov Esh, Bet Yosef Lava. It says that in the future, it says in Ovadia, one of the prophets, chapter 1, paragraph 18, that the house of Yosef is going to be, the house of Yaakov is going to be fire, and the house of Yosef is going to be a flame. Ubeit Esav Lekash, and the house of Esav will be like straw. V'yashu hanegev Esav, and the south, okay, I remember we learned this last year, it was like, whoa, goosebumps. The south of Israel will inherit the mountain of Esav, the Galut, and the verse continues. Ad Tzofat, until France. Yeshua Darei Negev, they will inherit the lands, the cities of the Negev of the south. And the demons will come up to the mountain of Zion, that's like Yerushalayim, to judge the mountain of Esav. Okay? So it sounds like we'll inherit everything from the south of Israel. It sounds like France. Everything will be redeemed. Everything will be elevated. And the Mashim, those who are saving.
It's going to be elevated until France, like the world.
Until France, it says, but he's not quoting the whole verse over here, so I don't have the whole verse in front of me. You could look it up and see exactly. It says V'gomer, he says etc. etc. So he's just extrapolating a few words here and there from the verse. So I can't translate it.
Can you repeat the last like 3 sentences of what the Rebbe said?
Okay, so he's not quoting the entire verse. But what he's saying, there's an advantage in our generation, and it's alluded to and hinted to. So there's a hint, okay? So he's not translating exactly word for word. He's just quoting the verse, and he's saying there's a connection where it says in Ovadia that the house of Yaakov will be a fire, and the house of Yosef will be a flame, and the house of Esav will be like a straw. That's the prophecy.
Wait, fire, flame. This is what I didn't hear. Fire, flame, and straw?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Meaning the house that will be overpowering the house of Esav, which is the enemies, right? They'll be like straw. They'll be burnt, like we've seen. A lot of bombs just burning some.
Wait, I'm sorry. So Jacob is by who? Wait, can you say that again? The 3 names?
The house of Yaakov is fire. The house of Yosef is flame, will be a flame, the Haya will be, and the house of Esav will be like straw. Okay? And then that will inherit the Negev, the south will inherit the Gullus, the exile, until France will inherit it all. Yeshua Negev will inherit the cities of the south, and the redeemers will go up to the mountain of Zion, which I guess is Yerushalayim, to judge the mountain of Esav.
They will inherit what of the south?
The cities.
Okay. Thank you.
Remember we learned this last year. We're thinking about the cities of maybe the south of Israel that were plundered, and we will inherit them, it says. And okay. And then the redeemers will come to the mountain of Zion, which I believe is Yerushalayim, to judge the mountain of Esav.
Well, we already have the south, so yes, it has to be more. It has to be places that we don't have. No.
We'll see. We'll find out. We need more of the south too. From the chidushim, from the new chidushim, the new insights of Yosef, and the continuation of the house of Yosef in our generation, which the Rebbe says, Yosef, in our generation, we're talking about, the Rebbe says, is the previous Rebbe, his name was Yosef. His first name was Yosef Yitzchak, right? Yosef, and then Yitzchak. What was the advantage of what was the chiddush his generation compared to the previous generations before him, and up to the house of the time of the Alter Rebbe, the first Chabad Rebbe, who the Rebbe calls Bais Yaakov, the house of Yaakov. What was the advantage of the new chiddush that happened at the time of the previous Rebbe, whose name was Yosef? Was that we spread the wellsprings of Hasidus to the outside, but kol katzvei tevel, in all corners of the world, mamish, in actuality, right? There's no place right now that you can't access Hasidus. Okay, you could get it anywhere in the world. Add the chutz Hashem chutz minute to the outside, that there's no outside beyond that. Comedinat Tzafat, similar to like the country of France. France was a very, 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 very unholy place at the time of Alter Rebbe, and now it has a lot of booming with the Hasidus and schools and shuls and teachings of Torah in France. Is like amazing, like it's incredible. Asher bizmano shel benos laken time Alter Rebbe ken bizmano shel betenu senu shel Chesed lo yagilu b'kvut kol kach hafatzat Hasidut. His time Alter Rebbe, there wasn't so much in a revealed way the teachings of Hasidus being taught, right? We didn't have Hasidus at the time of the Alter Rebbe. There was not, Hasidus wasn't popular yet. It was just a few people, quietly, here and there, a little bit, mostly in Russia around the Alter Rebbe, a little bit, maybe in Poland. France, forget it. There wasn't really anything on in France with Hasidus. So it wasn't revealed in an established way so much, the spreadings of Hasidus in the country of France. Okay, maybe there were a few people who learned it, but nobody really knew about it. It wasn't spread in a revealed way. Because it was so down and lowly, to a point that the Alter Rebbe was afraid that France would win the war, Napoleon would win the war. He didn't want them to have power. It was such a far off. It was like so. It's like when people in later generations thought of America, probably similar to that America was completely the wild, wild west. It's like when my husband came to California, to Hollywood from Israel. Okay, we're talking about our anniversary. So he wasn't so excited about coming to live in California. He didn't know what to expect, and he was like shocked when he came here. Compared to living in Rehovot, Yerushalayim, Israel, he'd been in Israel for 30 years. It's amazing to live in Israel. To come to California, it's like, whoa, this is definitely, I told him it's the Wild West. He said, yes, it's definitely the Wild West. He couldn't believe the amount of the craziness and the what people line up on, just every time he sees people lining up on the streets to get, stupid things in stupid stores, or to see stupid things on sets or whatever, and the man even, he could it's hard for him to fathom. So the Alter Rebbe was afraid France in that point was the wild, wild west, very, very far from spirituality and holiness, and he didn't want Napoleon to win. He was afraid that the Jewish people would just get completely assimilated if France took over and have no Yiddishkeit, nothing to hold them strong in Torah and mitzvahs. Especially now, specifically now in our generation, Al Yedei Bais Yosef, through the house of Yosef, which is the previous Rebbe, the spreading of the wellsprings of Hasidus has happened in a revealed way in France also in France. There's established the yeshiva Chabad, it's called lubavitcher, similar to the yeshiva of Lubavitch in the city of Lubavitch in Russia, the little town of Lubavitch. Therefore, time has come actually for us to inherit the cities of the south, and that the Redeemer should come to the mountain of Zion to judge the mountain of Esau, which is the true and complete redemption. Now we have to add something that's more hinted to. So France is the gematria of 770. Hashtem with the Mispah Sheva, which is the completion, the wholeness of the number 7. Like each one is 7 times 10, which is 70, and each one is times 100, which is 700. So you have 700 and you have 70. Both of them together, 770. יש לומר שבזה מרומז שהבירור דמדינת צרפת נגמר ונשלם בירור העולם שנברא בשעת ימי הביניים בכל הפרטים פרטי פרטים. So Rebbe says, we could say, יש לומר, we could say that when this is alluded to, that the elevation of the country of France is completed and whole, and through the completion of France, the whole world is also completed and whole, because the world was created with 7 days of the week. And it has all the details and the details of the details in this. So the Rebbe is not going into this. He's just saying this maybe is the connection between, when France is elevated, the whole world, right? The prophet Obadiah says, and they will come all the way till France. And then the redeemers will come to Jerusalem and redeem, right? And redeem the Jews in Har Zion. So it's until France, the Rebbe says, maybe this means that once France has this spirituality of Chassidus being spread all over it, and we have Shiva Tom Chitrim, we could say, is now, this is the completion. The whole world is ready for Geula. Okay, so, and it's alluded to in the number 770. France is the gematria of 770. How is France, which is 770, becoming elevated? Through the flame that's shining from the house of Yosef, the Lehava, right? We said the flame of the house of Yosef. The Adla Bet Yosef Kipshuto. What is the house of Yosef? Simply put, on a technical, practical way, is the house of Yosef is 770. The previous Rebbe bought 770. The previous Rebbe's name is Yosef. So it's the house of Yosef is 770. Okay, and he lived there, and from there, in the last 10 years of his life, he went and spread out the wellsprings and the flame of Yosef. And now the Rebbe says it's continuing and drawing forth, or spreading forth the service of the house of Yosef, which is 770. Okay, so that's all the Frenchies, all the people from French were very excited when the Rebbe said the Sikha. There was actually, I believe there was a big group of Hasidim from France in 770 when the Rebbe said this, that had come, to visit the Rebbe. There were a whole group who were brought by a shliach. And when the Rebbe said this, they were just like, they felt, obviously the Rebbe was engaging with them and talking to them and welcoming them. And they were like, amazing, going wild. My husband's mechutan, the Turjuman, he's a Baal Tshuva in France. He brings every year people from France to 770. He likes to do that. He tries to convince people to come. Women to Bais Chana and families for Tishrei from France. And there's a lot of French people who come till this day from France just to be in 770 and get inspired. Teachings of Chassidus. Okay, more deeply. If you take the letters Tzarfat, France, and you interchange them, it spells the word paratzta. You should break forth. This also alludes to and hints to that the revelation and the spreading of the wellsprings of Yiddishkeit, paratzta, is in France. Breaking all the boundaries. ולא רק באופן שמצד פריצת כל הגדרים דהמנות באים הם גם בתחתון, שאין תחתון למטה ממנו, אלא יתרה מזה. עניין זה הוא גם מצד התחתון, כמפגש בכך שצרפת אותיות פרצת. על ידי זה נעשה פרצת לכפרת. זה משיח, שנאמר עלה הפורץ לפנינו. So what he's saying is that not only are we bringing Yiddishkeit, Chassidus, spreading of the wellsprings all the way down to the lowest of the low places in the world, but more than that, something is going on in France, that France itself becomes paratza. Becomes paratza means to break forth. That the France itself is becoming the engine of spreading and bringing Mashiach. Okay, so it's not just we're breaking boundaries for them and bringing it to them, but France itself is now becoming paratza. It's becoming the one breaking the boundaries. And that's what Mashiach is called Peretz, the one who also breaks the limits and breaks the boundaries. Peretz means to break forth, break through. Okay, so that is paragraph 12. Okay, I think we could finish it today if you want, and then tomorrow we could do the next sticker, which is Yud Tes Kislev Sicha.
Do you think that France symbolizes the whole world in a way, the secular world?
Well, it symbolizes actually the most, I guess, in those days of the Alter Rebbe, the most distant from Torah and mitzvahs that you could have imagined. You know, the most coarse, the most, right? It's still, even to this day, it has that illusion of it's the place of fashion and the place of very externality, like, very physical. And specifically in that coarseness of the place, it's not just physical, it's not just about survival, it's about making the physicality into something that it's not, you know, beyond of what it is, you know, into its own entity, its own power, its own, right, inspiration, without void of Hashem in it, right? All these fashion shows. By the way, I saw not too long ago, there's a woman who's observant and she's a fashion designer, and she did it, I don't know where, I forgot where she did it, a fashion show with all the trappings of a regular fashion show but it was all women and actual models that she hired, and they were wearing completely beautiful gowns that were 100% modest. It's very beautiful to see. So that's also a transformation. You know, a woman doing that takes a lot. I'm sure it's not so simple for a woman to hire models and get the venue and get the designs and get the everything, from the publicity, from the little fabric to the publicity to the whole staff to the whole everything. It's probably a huge undertaking, and she did it. This amazing woman. I don't even know who. I forgot. It's not my. I was just like, wow, this is amazing. Welcome, Sarah Malka. Welcome, Malka. Okay. So I think we can finish this. There's only like a little bit left. Budoyin is 13. In our generation, we have already the full moon of the month of Kislev in this year, which is going to be the full moon. Is going to be tonight. Okay. The acronym of that year was, it should be the years of wonders within it. Ba, with the Tashinun base. And there was said Bakol Mikol Kol, within everything. The year itself and everything in the year is in a way of wonders. A wonder, the Rebbe says, is beyond a miracle. The Rebbe explains this in this Likutei Sichos, volume 15, page 368, in footnote 16, how a pele, a wonder, is greater than a nes, a miracle. Everything this year, the year itself and everything in it is in a way of wonders, beyond miracles, uplot l'shon habim, and many wonders, not pele, plaot. Plaot is in plural. Vadin niflot, nun plot, until we have 50 wonders. Starting with the wonders of like they were in the time of coming out of Egypt. And there will be wonders, though, even relative and compared to the wonders that we had, the miracles and wonders we had from when we came out of Egypt. And this year we're already at the full moon of the third month. This month, Kislev, the third month from Tishrei, we're getting close to Tuesday, which is the Matan Torah of Chassidus, the third day of the third month, which this year is when Yud Tes Kislev comes out. It also came out in the original Yutes Kislev on that day, which is the giving of the Torah of Chassidus. It's when the Alter Rebbe was given permission from above to start spreading Chassidus to the whole, in a much, much grander, wholesome way. And this was the beginning, really, it's called also the Rosh Hashanah because it's the beginning of the revelations of the teachings of Mashiach. Saying the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and when it will be fully revealed, that will be the marriage between the Jewish people and the Hashem, in a way that the light of the moon will be like the light of the sun. Okay, so the beginning, the Rebbe says, really, the beginning of the Gilur of the revelations of the Torah of Mashiach started Yutes Kislev, when the Alter Rebbe came out of jail. Okay, the Rebbe is putting in brackets. Okay, I'm not going to go into that. It's talking about how it was a leap year that year. So also there's more wholeness with that. Then that's in brackets. שנתפסו מחדש בתוספת בירוש, דורשים בתורת החסידות ושייכים לחתונה. The Rebbe is alluding and says, let's connect this also to what was said by the previous Rebbe at the wedding Maimarim. There's teachings of Chassidus about that were said in a wedding, at a time of wedding. שבזה מודגשת ביותר השייכות לחתונת הכנסת ישראל מקדוש ברוך הוא. Today's the day of the wedding of the Rebbe, and one of the things that the Rebbe's would do on a day of a wedding was say Chassidus, and there's called Drushei Chasana, teachings the Chassidus that were said at the Chasanas, at the weddings of the Rebbe's, and this emphasizes the connection to the Chasana, the wedding of the Jewish people with Hashem in the days of Mashiach. So any wedding is very, very special also because of this, especially the wedding of the Rebbe and the Rebbetzin, is that it's part and parcel with the wedding of the Jewish people in Hashem, which will be fully manifest in the times of Mashiach. Then will be the full revelations of the new Torah. The new Torah is basically, I guess, the what's going to cause the creation, the merging of the Jewish people with Hashem like a wedding. It's like the giving of the Torah the first time also was a wedding, but it was, they say, the Rebbe was explaining, it was more like an engagement. So it was on a lower level of revelation, but there was a merging that we could elevate our body to be holy, our things to be holy. Times of Geula, it's already going to be fully there, fully merged, us with Hashem. And there'll be the fullness of the revelation of the new Torah of Hashem that will reveal to us our oneness with Hashem, and we'll be like married, like one. We'll feel it, we'll sense it. It'll be clear to us. When we understand that these days, all we have to do is really open up our eyes, to see what's going on really, mamish, to be able to see that we're sitting we're sitting together with Hashem, like it says Hashem and the Jewish people are one in the Zohar, and we're sitting at a set table with the Suda of the meal of the wedding meal, celebration meal, a Suda de Levitam Shabbat, which is talked about in the prophecies. It's the Suda of the big fish and the wild ox and the hidden Meshuma, the old aged wine. At the end of the Suda, Hashem says to David, King David, take the wine, take a cup, and make a blessing. And he says, yes, I will bless, and Lina, it's fitting for me to bless him. I'll lift my cup of a cup of salvation. I'll call out to Hashem. That's from. It's brought in the Gemara of Psachim. This story. What?
When he uses the word in the Hebrew word for new that you're reading is, what's the word that indicates the word is new? Like, is it is the word new? He actually uses the word new in Hebrew, or does that word have?
I'm not sure where I said the word new.
Oh, like you said, new Torah.
Torah Chadasha. Chadasha is new. Yeah.
Is that the only definition of the word chadasha?
Yeah, chadash is new, but we learned this. We went into depth about
Yeah,
it. What does it
I
mean?
thought it was like deeper, not new.
Yeah, right. So that's what the Rebbe explained that. But that the actual verse in Isaiah, I believe it is that it says Torah chadasha in the Torah. So the Rebbe asks about it. We learned a whole sikh about it. How could it be new? Torah is never, it can't be changed. It can't be really new. No, Torah cannot change. So the Rebbe explains, well, it will be so deep and such a new insights that it will completely understand it in such a new way. It will be like
it'll be like seeming new.
Yeah, it's all there, it's embedded, but to the point where the Rebbe says we won't even be able to understand it with our even rational brain. We'll need Mashiach. We'll have prophecy to be able to explain things to us.
Okay.
On a level of insight, a level of a prophet, and then we'll be able to understand it in our rational brain. It will make sense.
Yeah.
But even to get to it, we'll need a higher level of consciousness to even reveal it. Yeah, for it to be revealed through Mashiach. That's why we'll need Mashiach, because he'll be a prophet and a teacher. That went into this. We learned this whole sikha.
Could you repeat? Oh, sorry.
What?
Could you repeat David's blessing, please?
Okay, so it's from Tehillim. We say this in Tehillim. It says, "Kos Yeshua Tesa, a cup of salvation I will elevate, uplift, ubeshem Hashem akah, and in the name of Hashem I will call." That is Tehillim chapter 116, verse 13. And this whole story about King David and Hashem telling him to bless, and he says, yes, I'll bless. That's from the Gemara, Psachim 119, page 2. Now, the Maaseh hu Ikar, the main thing is like this in paragraph 14, when we come in Erev Shabbos. Erev Shabbos is the full moon, right? Tonight is going to be the full moon. Tonight, tomorrow is the full moon. And it's continuing on Shabbos. The holy day of Shabbos, and let's say Shabbos, continuing this idea, Yom Rishon and Sunday, every day, it's continuing this idea. We're going to the 17th of Kislev, Gematria Tov, 3 days, and we'll have the elevation from basically we're going up in holiness, special holiness. We go to Chai to the 18th, and then which is the eve of the 19th of Kislev, and then how much more so we'll have on the 19th of Kislev and the 20th of Kislev. Those are continuing days afterwards, till we come to the days of Hanukkah. All these days, everybody was saying, all these special, auspicious days we should make for Brahmins, Hasidic for Brahmins. B'chol makom, every place possible. B'chol medina, every country. B'chol ir, every city. B'chol shchona, every neighborhood. Lo itvadiyot gdol, not just the big Farbrengens, where we have everybody coming together in the big sense, in the central locations. Ela b'chol makom, but every place, kipshuto, simply put, every place should have a Farbrengen. Okay, so each of you have to do in your own home also. Kol agam b'kol makom, every private home. Tiyeh hitvadut b'ofen shelika, there should be a Farbrengen. And it should be in a way that it's the main Farbrengen. It's the ikar. It's mashpia. It should be like giving over to others. Mashpia. Makom ploni hu tafel makabel. Not just that this is the little Farbrengen. It's the nothing Farbrengen. It's just, and the main thing is in the big shul or the big central city or whatever. There was every little detail. Every personal private place should be the main Farbrengen. Not only will it not take away from the main Farbrengen, but much more. Through this, we'll be adding more in the other places. The Farbrengens of the other places will be enhanced. In a way, because it says when people who are learned are jealous of each other's knowledge, that increases their knowledge, right? Because if you see, oh, wow, there's so much information that this person knows, so much wisdom, so much insight, so much that makes people want to learn more. So it's good. Jealousy on this level is good, is what they're saying. So if everybody's competing to have the better Farbrengen, it's wonderful, okay? It would be the main place where everybody wants to go for the Farbrengen. And it's so it won't take away from the main Farbrengen if everybody's making a small Farbrengen. It will actually make the Farbrengens bigger and better until all Farbrengens are becoming ikar, the main Farbrengen. until the Ikar Shabikar, they'll all become the main of the main for Bregan. That nobody needs to receive actually influence from a central place that's more essential, more ikari, more resourceful or whatever. Because the person himself becomes the central source of everything. Meaning the Rebbe says, you don't want to have to rely on having to go and get inspired. You become the inspiration. Similar to the moon, everyone wants to sort of be on this level of the Mashiach times, and the moon is on the level of the sun. This moon doesn't have to receive from the sun. It shines its internal light, which is beyond what it gets from the sun, and reflects. So it's correct and appropriate. Each and every single person should make a farbrengen. So don't wait for somebody else to make a farbrengen. You ladies need to make your own farbrengen. And not only that, the Rebbe says it's good if you have 3 farbrengens. One with yourself, with all the powers of your own little soul, which is pretty big. You have 10 powers. Find them. Make a farbrengen with yourself. Make one with the people in your family, b'nei beisa, im chavarav, and with your friends and acquaintances, etc. And to emphasize even more that each and every one of us is also a mashpia, meaning we're responsible, the Rebbe says, to make 3 farbrengens, each and every one of us. Not wait for the central farbrengen to take place. One with we each have to make one with ourselves, one with our family, one with our friends. And like it says, Hashem will return the hearts of fathers on their children, and the children's hearts to their fathers. If we try to look at these farbrengens, what should we do? We should arouse, awaken, and everybody should be awakened. We should awaken, and they should be awakened. Each person should help their friends. To help each other on the 3 pillars of Torah learning, service of Hashem, prayer, and acts of kindness. Like the Rebbe say, you redeem my soul in peace. Whoever learns Torah and acts with kind deeds, and acts and prays with the congregation. Okay, so it's the 3 pillars: Torah, kind deeds, and prayer. Hashem says, I count it as if He has redeemed me and the Benai, and my sons, my children, the Jewish people. The main thing is, it shouldn't be like as if they've redeemed me. The Rebbe says it should be that we redeem Hashem and His children in actuality and in a revealed way. Okay, so this verse from the rabbis, from Gemara Brachos, that when we do these 3 things, it's as if we redeem Hashem. The Rebbe says it shouldn't be just as if; it should be actual redemption. Ubepashtut, and simply put, shetekef mir mamash, immediately after this farbrengen, even before mincha, מתקיימת בקשת יעקב בשם ועבור בשליחות כבכל לכל אחד ואחד מישראל אישה בשווה שקוראים במנחה ופועל בגלוי, כיוון שכבר לפני זה נתקיים הייעוד ועלו נשים ועציון לשפוט את ההריסה והייתה לה שם אחת. The wish and the desire of Yaakov to sit peacefully should already happen, because we will already have the Redeemers coming to the mountain of Zion, to judging the mountain of Esav, and Hashem will be the king. And we'll have Ach Tzadikim, only Tzadikim, right? Yodu Lishmecha will praise Hashem, thank Hashem, Yeshvu Yishem Espanecha will return. The righteous, the upright, the straight ones will come towards Panecha, Hashem's face. The Bais Hamikdash Hashlishi will greet Hashem on the 3rd base of Mikdash. V'sham Te'arech Hitvadut Gdula, there we'll have the big farbrengen. Chanukah's Beis HaMikdash, celebrating the establishment of the 3rd temple. The Ma'amad Kol Bnei Yisrael, all the Jewish people will be in front of it and watching it. Kol Yishvei, because will be all the Jewish people on the land. Od Lifnei Mei Chanukah, even before Chanukah, will be Mei Chanukah Yitvasef Od Yoter. Days of Chanukah will increase. B'shlemut Geula, on the wholeness of Geula. Ba'ofen de'ilchu mechayil l'chayil, Yehelekim b'tzion, in a way that we will go from strength to strength. Hashem will appear in Zion. That is Parashat Vayishlach 1992. And anybody want to say something, ask something? What inspired you?
You want to take the recording off? I don't know.
So we have to have a break-in on Tuesday in our class.
I
You wanna
want to
take the
start earlier
recording?
on Tuesday, if that's okay.
Pardon?
I want to start a little earlier Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday next week. If we can start like at 7 or 7:15, I'm going to try my time, like 10:15 your time, if that's okay with you, lady.
That's okay. So we have to expand the borders like yesterday, really, really intense.